Take-Two Interactive shares getting a big boost this morning. Fiscal second quarter net bookings topping expectations, totaling $1.4 billion. But the big focus is on Grand Theft Auto 6. The first trailer of the game set to be released next month. A long time coming for fans of the lucrative franchise. For more on this, Michael Pachter, Wedbush Securities Managing Director of Equity Research, is here with us. We're seeing shares up by about 1.5% right now, so there must have been something that investors like. Michael, a ton of GTA 6 fans.
Yeah, I mean, that's really all that it was, Brad. The print was okay, in line on revenue, and they beat on earnings, but they didn't pass any of it through. And the guide was actually kind of disappointing. They guided sequentially down for the December quarter, which is seasonally usually their best quarter, and that implies back up in the March quarter, which is seasonally the weakest quarter. So, that implies that there's a game coming, not GTA. And of course, they haven't named it yet. I think the biggest problem investors have with Take-Two is lack of visibility. I mean, we know all the games they're working on. GTA came out in 2013, so we've known at least since 2015 that there was a new one coming. But here we are 10 years later, and it still hasn't formally been announced. So the stock is not trading on yesterday's print or the hype around upcoming titles. It's solely up on GTA is going to have a trailer early December. They did not announce the name of the game. They actually said a trailer for the next installment in the Grand Theft Auto franchise. So, I'm not sure we're going to get an announcement that day. We don't have a release date. And then the other bad news is management has said for the prior two earnings calls, they're going to generate more than $8 billion in revenue next year. Consensus this year is about 5.5. So, $2.5 billion of growth. The strong implication is GTA is in there, but they won't announce it. And yesterday they said, we might miss that 8 billion, but not materially. We'll just be slightly below. Why? We don't know. So there's a lot of uncertainty. I don't think the game is necessarily coming next year. I do think it's coming the year after. So I'll be pleasantly surprised when they date it and it actually launches. And one reminder, the last time it came out, they announced it in 2011 for a 2012 launch, and it came out in September of 13. So they're kind of notorious for slipping on that game. We'll see if it comes out on time.
So, Michael, then what does that mean for the stock price? Because clearly, as we're seeing in the action, like you noted, there is a lot of hype for this release. Is it going to continue, though, to be enough to offset some of that softness that you were just talking about within the report going forward?
I mean, the answer is yes. I think there'll be some volatility. Certainly not 20-point swings in the stock. I mean, 5% kind of volatility. I expect that, they'll probably get to next quarter and decide to lower numbers for this year, because the game that they haven't named yet that is coming out in the next 4 or 5 months probably isn't ready and gets slipped. The good news is that piles more revenue into the following year. Once they date GTA, the stock's going to rip. If they continue to not date it, or if they announce that it's delayed a year, the stock will drop back down 10, 15%. I don't think it makes much difference. With a GTA, the stock is probably worth 165 to 200. I mean, it's worth a lot more. It's trading in the 140s right now. And even higher if they start to execute the way they did on the last GTA, if they beef up Grand Theft Auto Online, and that grows from 500 million a year to $1 billion a year, the stock could go over 200. So once it's out there, the stock's going to go up. It's just this uncertainty that they refuse to commit to a date. And I don't blame them. They don't want to disappoint investors and say it's coming November 1st, 24, and then have to announce it's not. They're going to announce it when they're sure, and investors are going to be patient and hope and hope and hope. It's coming eventually. It's pretty close.
Yeah, it's almost like GTA 6 was kind of like the Cybertruck button for Take-Two in this instance, where we saw Tesla implore that to make sure that the street had something to chew on for a go-forward basis here. But when you think more largely across the environment...
Better looking and no risk that it'll kill anybody. So there you go.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. You have a point. When you think broadly across the gaming environment right now, we've seen Finally, the consummation of Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard. You had Roblox that just in this recent quarter talked about strong third quarter results, continuing platform innovation, growth across all age groups, geographies. And now you get these results from Take-Two. Is Take-Two living up to expectations right now if they have to hit a GTA 6 button just to keep investors engaged?
Take-Two is kind of in the middle of a transition from selling $60 and $70 premium games to becoming an ongoing live services business. And I mean, think about that as a movie studio that only makes theatrical releases and then shifting over to doing recurring revenue from streaming. Activision was already 2/3, 3/4 of the way there. Roblox is 100% of the way there. So I think that transition is where the growth is. You're aiming towards the free-to-play market. 3.5 billion monthly active users play free-to-play games, and Roblox has 300 million of them. Activision has 300 million of them. Take-Two probably more like 100 million. They're not there yet. They've got to get there. And I think GTA is one of those franchises that people believe in. And they've proven that it can work both as a premium game where people pay $70 and as an ongoing live service, which is GTA Online. So I think everybody is looking at that as kind of the tipping point for Take-Two to really, flip over to becoming more than half ongoing live service revenue. And so it's a great investment. I actually think you want to buy the guy who's not there yet, as long as they're making progress to getting there. Roblox is trading at a much, much, much higher multiple because it's already there.
Yeah, Take-Two shares moving to the upside today, up another 1.5%. Michael Pachter, always great to get your insight. Thanks so much for joining us here this morning.